The desert wind whipped around Damon's perfectly trimmed beard as he surveyed the scene. His gold chain, the 4B pendant glinting under the harsh moonlight, swung gently against his black designer suit. The crimson accents on his jacket seemed to pulse faintly in the dim light. Even at night, his designer sunglasses hid his eyes, a dark, impenetrable mask behind which a sharp mind worked. The scar that bisected his right temple and cheek, a souvenir from a past confrontation, twitched slightly. His custom gold-plated Desert Eagle, cold and heavy in his hand, felt reassuringly familiar. He adjusted his grip, the diamond sights catching the moonlight. His matte black Zentorno, with its gold trim and pulsating red underglow, hummed quietly nearby. The engine purred like a caged beast, ready to unleash its power. Tonight's target, the notorious arms dealer, known only as Viper. Intelligence suggested Viper was meeting a buyer at the abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Damon had been tracking Viper for months, his patience wearing thin. He'd seen the man's face only once, a fleeting glimpse in a grainy security camera image. But Damon knew Viper's methods. The man's signature was as unmistakable as Damon's own. Damon moved with the practiced grace of a predator, his deep, raspy voice a low hum that barely disturbed the stillness of the night. He approached the warehouse cautiously, his senses heightened. The scent of dust and decay hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the expensive cologne clinging to his skin. He slipped into the shadows, his movements fluid and silent, a ghost in the night. Inside, Viper and his buyer were engaged in a hushed negotiation. Damon watched from the darkness, observing their every move. The buyer, a nervous man in a cheap suit, nervously fiddled with a briefcase filled with cash. Viper, his back to Damon, was a picture of cold calculation. The moment Viper reached for the weapons, Damon moved. His appearance, his very presence, was a weapon in itself. The sudden flash of gold, the deep rumble of his voice as he barked a command, sent a shockwave through the room. Before the buyer could react, Damon had disarmed Viper, the Desert Eagle trained squarely on his head. The buyer, paralyzed by fear, dropped the briefcase with a thud. Damon didn't need to speak much. A single, controlled gesture was enough to convey his intentions. He took the weapons, leaving the cash where it lay. He knew Viper would be dealt with appropriately. This wasn't about revenge. It was about cleaning up the city, one dangerous player at a time. As Damon slid into his Zentorno, the red underglow painting the night in a bloody hue, he knew this was just another mission completed, another threat neutralized. The night was far from over, but for now, this corner of the city was safe.